Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Mahabharata. Commentaries by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So in today's satsang, we will be studying the birth of Dhritarashtra, Pandu and Vidura, three very important characters in the Mahabharata. Continuing the story from yesterday. Remembering her divine son Vyasa, who was actually an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, Satyavati invoked his presence and he miraculously appeared before her. Vyasa then told his mother that he would do what would be best for the line of Shantanu and help each of her daughter-in-law to produce one child. First, Ambika was presented to Vyasa. Terrified by his austere appearance, Ambika kept her eyes completely closed during her meeting with the sage. As a result, her son Dhritarashtra was born blind because she closed her eyes. Then Ambalika was presented to Vyasa. Although she kept her eyes open when she met him, she turned terribly pale when she saw the sage's rugged bearing. As a result, her son Pandu was born slightly pale but endowed with great qualities. At the request of Satyavati, Vyasa then inspired the birth of one more child, this time through a wise and devotional maidservant who knew the greatness of the sage and behaved in an excellent manner. As a result, Vidura, an incarnation of Dharma, the god of righteousness, was born. Although Vidura was not entitled to the throne because of the social status of his mother, he became a wise personality, well versed in scriptural knowledge. Thus, through the strange intervention of Sage Vyasa, Vichitravirya, who was dead, became the father of three sons, Dhritarashtra, Pandu and Vidura, all of whom played an important role in the plot of the Mahabharata. Both Sage Vyasa's intervention in the births of Dhritarashtra, Pandu and Vidura, as well as Sage Parashar's involvement in the birth of Sage Vyasa, are symbolic of subtle and mysterious processes that occur in the mind of an aspirant. These stories are not meant to be taken literally. Neither sage was involved physically in the bringing forth of children. So we have to understand there is no human concept of how we produce children that these sages do. They do it through their tapasya, their penance and ability to create matter out of nothing or few things. As was explained before, the story of Parashar and Matsya Gandha is the story of pure bhavana, feeling, emerging out of the fishy samskaras, which are impure impressions deep in our unconscious due to the transforming effect of sat sangha, the good association of a sage, coinciding with the emergence of Vyasa, who represents spiritual wisdom. Similarly, in the story of Vyasa interacting with Ambika and Ambalika, the sage again represents Satsanga, a higher level of consciousness interacting with diverse feelings of the heart. As a result, three personalities are born. Dhritarashtra was born blind because his mother kept her eyes closed when she faced Vyasa. This implies that whenever you allow feelings to swell in your heart without the guidance of reason, it is going to create egocentricity. We will be blind. Dhritarashtra represents tamas, dullness of mind, delusion. Although as he grew up, Dhritarashtra gained a great deal of Vedic knowledge, he remained blind in practical matters. As we will see as the story unfolds, he was infatuated with his wicked son, Duryodhana, and always gave in to whatever the boy asked, even if it was wrong. Although he had intellectual knowledge, Dhritarashtra lacked inner vision. So just theoretically knowing things is not enough. We have to believe in them and implement them practically. Pandu represents sattva, meaning mental purity and harmony, mixed with rajas or mental distraction. Vidura represents pure sattva. The birth of Pandu's sons, the Pandavas. Because his elder brother Dhritarashtra was blind, Pandu was eventually crowned king. Pandu was then married to two princesses, Kunti and Madri. Kunti was the sister of Vasudeva, the father of the divine incarnation Krishna. Because of Pandu's fascination with hunting, he and his wife spent most of their time living in the forest rather than in the capital city of the kingdom. One day, when Pandu was hunting in the forest, he killed a female deer whose mate was left grieving. This deer, whose soul was quite advanced, cursed Pandu to die if he ever united sexually with his wife. Realizing that he himself would be unable to produce children, Pandu then asked Kunti to utilize the special mantra, meaning divine formula she had been given by Sage Durvasa to invoke deities and produce children through them. She had received this boon from Sage Durvasa one time when she served him. Honoring her husband's request, Kunti first invoked Dharma, the god of righteousness, and as a result, Yudhishthir was born. She then invoked Vayu, the wind god, and Bhima was born. Finally, she invoked Indra, and Arjuna was born. Then Madri requested that she be given the opportunity to have children also. Kunti agreed and gave the mantra to Madri to use just once. To fully utilize this opportunity, Madri invoked the twin divine physicians known as Ashwini Kumaras, and as a result, her twin sons Nakul and Sahadev were born. This interesting episode in which Pandu has his children without physical contact with his wife implies that there comes a stage in one's evolution where the spirit longs to transcend the world of matter, of objects, of physical pleasures. It longs for progeny of a spiritual rather than material nature. Pandu's children represent the divine qualities in one's personality, as well as the perfection of the four goals of life, being Dharma, ethical goal, Artha, material goal, Kama, vital or social goal, and Moksha, spiritual goal of liberation. So these four goals have to be kept in mind to lead a holistic and happy life. Madri represents the lower nature in human personality. Having given rise to Nakul and Sahadeva, the lower nature fades away. Then the higher nature, Kunti, continues to guide the spirit within us towards self-realization. The concept of divine intervention in human reproduction is an ancient one. In the Bible, Mother Mary gives birth to the Son of God. In Hindu tradition, many householders feel that when they have a child, it was the blessing of a particular god and they name the child after that god or after a saint. From a broad point of view, without the divine self, in his different manifestations, nothing can happen in human life. Every child, therefore, is ultimately due to the intervention of God, all part of divine plan, His will. With this, we conclude our satsanga for today, and tomorrow we will start with the birth of Dhritarashtra's sons, the Kauravas. This is Swami Nikhilanand. Om Tat Sat.